Today's lesson is called Plus Talk, asking for and giving directions. Hi everyone, my name is Jeff.
My name is Roger, and it's summer, of course, and it's the time to travel. And once the COVID restrictions get lifted, people are going to want to travel. And, of course, Europe is a popular travel destination, especially Paris and maybe Dresden and maybe Copenhagen or London. But, hey, you might think about traveling to Mallorca, which is in the Mediterranean Sea. It's part of Spain's territory. And today we've got a conversation between David and Fern, and they're in a place in Mallorca called Palma, but they're having difficulty finding their way around.
Okay, let's play a quick game right now.
Let's do that.
London is to England as blank is to France.
Paris?
Penghu is to Taiwan as blank is to Spain.
The Canary Islands?
Not quite what I was thinking, but you could have said Mallorca. You could have said Mallorca, a group of islands there off of Spain in the Mediterranean Sea. They're kind of like what Penghu is to Taiwan here. So even if COVID was on, if you were in Spain there and had a Spanish passport, maybe you still could have taken a vacation to Mallorca. The same way that you could have taken a vacation to Penghu if you were here in Taiwan and you had an APRC, let's say, or maybe you had a Taiwanese passport. In fact, that's exactly what my family and I did not too long ago. We had a fantastic time. No, we did not go to Mallorca, but we did go to Penghu and have a fantastic time. Anyways, that's enough about Penghu. Let's get started on our Plus Talk dialogue on Mallorca. Asking for and giving directions in Mallorca.
Asking for and giving directions. 1. Mapping out a route. David and Fern are in Palma, Mallorca, plotting a route to the city's historic cathedral.
Ugh, can't we just trust Google Maps? It'd be so much easier.
Like I said, that'll give us the fastest route, but there are a lot of narrow cobblestone streets that I'd like to avoid. Remember the drive from the airport? I'd prefer to stick to the main roads if possible.
Fine. In that case, let's just take this road. It skirts the city center all the way to the Esplanade.
That'll work. Then we can make a right here and follow this road until we're close to the cathedral. I'm sure there'll be a place to park nearby.
大家好，第一部分我们看到片语 map out， 表示详细安排、筹划，像是 Jenny mapped out a plan for her vacation. Jenny 为她的假期安排了一项计划。另外，以下补充2个包含 map 的相关片语。第一 ，put somebody or something on the map， 表示使某人、事、地闻名。例如 Jane's latest short story put her on the literary map。Jane 最新的短篇创作让她在文坛崭露头角，或是 Disney World put Orlando, Florida on the map。佛州的奥兰多市因为迪士尼世界而著名。第二 ，wipe something off the map， 表示将点点点夷为平地，彻底消灭。举例来说 ，The typhoon wiped the small village off the map。台风把那座小村庄摧毁殆尽了。接着，我们看到单字 plot。这个字是动词，指在地图上标注位置。例如 James said that he'll be able to plot a relatively safe route to the Mayan ruins. James 说他可以策划一条相对安全的路线前往玛雅遗迹。另外，除了上面的意思，这个字还可以指密谋或是计划。我们可以说 Don plotted to take his supervisor's job. Don 密谋取得他主管的职位。再来我们看到名词 cobblestone， 意思是鹅卵石。例如 Tourists enjoy the quaint cobblestone streets of this town's shopping district. 观光客喜欢这个城市中雅致且铺有鹅卵石的商圈街区。
Okay, so the first part of a conversation is all about a conversation between David and Fern, and they are in Palma. When you're in a strange place and you don't know how to get around, you need to ask for directions. And then, of course, if you're in Taipei or Kaohsiung, whatever the case may be, you may run into tourists and they may ask you for directions, and you need to give directions. So today we're asking for and giving directions. But also when you're in a new place, you need to map out your route. You might have a place in mind, your destination, and then you need to figure out how to get there. So you get out the map or you open Google Maps and you try to figure out the roads that you're going to take to get to your destination. You're going to map out a route.
There you go. It's more than just looking at a map and saying, okay, we've got to get from here to here. You figure out the actual way that you are going to take. And it's not necessarily just finding the shortest route between one place and another either, as we're going to find out here pretty soon. Anyways, David and Fern are in Palma, Mallorca, plotting a route to the city's historic cathedral. So they want to see this really beautiful big church. By the way, that's what a cathedral is. A cathedral is a big, beautiful church. When I was growing up, on really special occasions, we would go to church at the cathedral. We'd have to drive a really long way, like an hour and a half, to go to the big fancy church where the bishop would say Mass. Yes, in the Catholic Church there, where the bishop works, so to speak, or says Mass and does his thing. That is the cathedral. It's kind of a big, fancy church, like I said before. And it says here that David and Fern are plotting a route. They're basically figuring out the way that they're going to take.
Yep, and there is a church or a big cathedral in Palma, and they want to go check it out. And Fern is getting kind of frustrated here. I guess she says, oh, can't we just trust Google Maps? It'd be so much easier. And indeed, that is a useful tool if you want to plot a course or plot a route to your destination. But sometimes, you know, Google Maps might not be easy to read, or maybe they don't have editions in certain parts of the world. You certainly aren't going to see Google Maps in North Korea, for example. So you might want to ask somebody, you might want to rely on the directions of a passerby.
Sometimes that works best. They might know good shortcuts, the smoothest way to go, the way to avoid traffic and stuff like that. Anyways, though, David says, like I said, Google Maps, that'll give us the fastest route, but there are a lot of narrow cobblestone streets that I'd like to avoid. So he doesn't want to travel on these really old streets made of stone and brick and rock. Why? Because they're bumpy and you can't really go all that fast. And even if you do travel over them slowly, you are not going to be super comfortable. You're going to be rocking and shaking the whole time. You can't even have a conversation because you're shaking on those cobblestone streets.
Yeah, they're made out of little rocks. Sometimes they're made out of bricks. And such roads are also not very convenient for bicycles because you will be jumping around and stuff like that. So, of course, David wants to avoid such streets. And he says, remember the drive from the airport? I'd prefer to stick to the main roads if possible, just like that main drive or that main route from the airport. These are the main roads, and they're going to be smooth and reliable. That's what he wants to stick to or keep on using. And Fern says, well, fine. Okay. That's okay with me. In that case, let's just take this road. So they see a road there, they think it looks good, and they're going to drive on that particular road.
And it says it skirts the city center all the way to the Esplanade. So it goes around the city center, but it doesn't stray too far away from the city center. And I guess that's a good thing. By the way, taking the main roads, if you do want to get somewhere efficiently, that is the way to go. I remember growing up, we used to drive from the Tampa Bay area there in Florida to Miami. And my brother and I would look at the map and say, Dad, what the heck are you doing? Why don't we drive in a straight line and take these roads? And he'd say, are you kidding? If we get a flat tire out there, it'll be difficult for people to find us and help us out. We don't know if the roads are good. This is a bad idea. Stay on the main roads. Stay on the highways. That's safe, and you can be sure that the roads are good. And if you are in trouble, you get a flat tire or stuff like that, you can call people, and they'll know where you are. You can tell them where you are and stuff like that. Anyways, David says, that'll work. We'll take this road. It skirts the city center. Fantastic. Then we can make a right here and follow this road until we're close to the cathedral. There you go. They're following the map here, figuring out what they're going to do. They're plotting their route. And then David says, I'm sure there'll be a place to park nearby. Or I hope there is. I hope there's a P on that particular map there. A P in a square usually suggests there's going to be a parking lot. If there isn't, I don't know what they're going to do. Anyways, though, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
2. Navigating unknown roads. David is driving while Fern is giving directions.
Can you see that large intersection a couple of blocks away? That's the main road. We're going to hang a left there.
Yep, I see it.
Great, now make a right. Hang on, this is a one-way street. I guess we should have double-checked. You'll have to do a quick U-turn.
It's a little tight, but got it. Now what?
Give me a minute. If we head back the way we came and take the first left, that'll put us back on track.
Okay, just let me know when to make the turn.
第二部分，我们看到单字 steer 这个字是动词，指驾驶车、船或是飞机等，掌方向盘。举例来说 ，Cars are difficult to steer when driving on snowy or icy roads. 汽车在雪地或结冰的路上时很难驾驶，或是 On a sailing boat, the rudder is used to steer. 帆船上的船舵是用来操控方向。另外，除了上面的意思，这个字还可以指带领或是操纵，像是 Lester steered the organization to success after taking over leadership. Lester 接手领导权后，带领该机构步向成功。再补充2个包含 steer 的相关片语。第一 ，steer clear of somebody or something 表示远离某人或某物，例如 steer clear of that angry-looking man over there 避开那边那位看起来在生气的男子，或是 Michael steers clear of drugs and alcohol Michael 绝不沾染毒品和酒精。第二 steer a course 表示采取某种做法、方法，我们可以说 The company steered a course that took few business risks那个公司采取较没有商业风险的做法。最后，我们看到片语 pull over 表示靠边停车。举例来说 The cars pulled over to let the ambulance through 驾驶把车子停在路旁，让救护车通过。
Okay, this is the second part of our conversation between Fern and David, and they are navigating unknown roads. So here we've got the verb to navigate, which means to basically figure out how you're going to get from point A to point B. Okay, so you look at a map and you look at all the different routes, and then you basically plan a course. You plot a course, you navigate, you go straight here, left there, right there. Through that, over that, under that, you are navigating your way.
There you go. Now, usually when I hear the word navigate, I think of some type of spacecraft maybe, or maybe a boat out on the open ocean, but you can also navigate your way through city streets to get somewhere, sure. Sometimes you can have a driver of a car, and then the person sitting next to them in the car, let's say, can be the navigator. When we went on family trips, my dad would do the driving, and my mother would be the navigator. She'd have a compass and a map, and she'd also have all sorts of books about the state that we were in and driving in, and the best routes to take, how to get to certain hotels and motels and stuff like that. She would tell my dad where to go, what turns to take, what exits to take, so on and so forth. She was the navigator. She helped my dad to navigate while he was driving. Anyways, David is driving while Fern is giving directions. So there you go. David is driving. Fern is navigator. Now, Fern says, can you see that large intersection a couple of blocks away? That's the main road. We're going to hang a left there, or we're going to turn left there at that intersection. Okay, sometimes you have a place where two roads meet and they might form a T or a plus or a cross. That is an intersection. Now, sometimes more than two roads might meet at a place. You can also call that an intersection, but usually when we're talking about an intersection, we're saying two roads are going to meet and form a plus, a cross, or a T.
Or the number 10, as you say in Chinese. But in this particular case, she's asking him if he can see the large intersection a few blocks away. And she says, well, that's the main road, and we're going to hang a left there. That's a slang term. It means make a left turn. You can say that with friends or family, but not in formal situations. You would normally say make a left there, or turn left there, turn right, turn left, make a right, make a left. You get the idea. Now, David says, yes, I see it. And he steers the car through the intersection and follows the main road. Now, when you drive a car, of course, you're grabbing onto the steering wheel. And when you turn it left or when you turn it right, you are steering to change the direction of your vehicle.
There you go. Fern says, great. Now, make a right. So before they hung a left, now they're going to make a right. And then something goes wrong. Fern says, hang on. This is a one-way street. I guess we should have double-checked. Yeah, good job there, Fern. You were supposed to be the navigator. Then she says to David, you'll have to do a quick U-turn. Yes, if you are in a dead-end situation, you might have to turn the car around, I should say, by way of a U-turn.
Yeah, this happened to me once in Algona, Iowa. I was turning left and I found out that it was a one-way street. I had to make a U-turn, which is a 180-degree turn. You just simply switch directions.
Sorry, in Chinese, is that a 回转?
Exactly, 回转, exactly. And if you say U-turn to Chinese people, of course, they'll know what that means because, hey, it's the letter U, and indeed, you would turn in the shape of a U, going one direction and then turning 180 degrees to go the other direction. So that's what they're going to do. David says it's a little tight. It's a little hard to make a U-turn here, but I've got it. I've done it. I have successfully done a U-turn. Now what? Now what are we supposed to do? Then he decides to pull over to the side of the road. Sometimes that's necessary if you've kind of lost your directions. You need to pull over to look at the map again.
Yeah, I'm not going any further until we get these wires untangled. Come on, Fern. Navigate. I want to know where we're going before I drive any further. So David pulls over to the side of the road, and Fern says, okay, give me a minute. If we head back the way we came and take the first left, that'll put us back on track. And David says, okay. And then he resumes driving. Just let me know when to make the turn, is what he says. By the way, if you resume doing something, you start doing that thing again. You were doing it before, then you paused or stopped momentarily, and then you started doing it again. That's what it means to resume something.
Yes, we resumed our conversation after the earthquake was over, for example. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Let's now listen to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分的对话中， David 和 Fern 正在规划路线。 David 就说 I'd prefer to stick to the main roads if possible. 如果可能的话，我会比较想坚持走主干道。那这边帮同学们整理一下动词 prefer 的用法。Prefer 表示更喜欢、偏好，那么之后可以接不定词或是接名词或动名词，像课文里面它就是在 prefer 后面接了不定词。好，那现在如果我们是要比较两者的偏好来表达比较喜欢什么而非什么，更喜欢什么胜过什么的时候呢，有几个常见的句型。第一个是 prefer 加上名词或动名词，instead of 加上名词或动名词。举例来说，Rita prefers wearing pants instead of skirts. Rita 比较喜欢穿长裤而不是裙子。好，第二个句型是 prefer 名词或动名词 to 名词或动名词。例如 Some people prefer texting to talking in person. 有些人更喜欢传讯息胜过当面讲话。第三种句型我们可以用 prefer to 加上原形动词 rather than 原形动词。例如 Dave prefers to jog in the park rather than work out at a gym. Dave 比较喜欢在公园慢跑而不是在健身房运动。好，那么在第二部分的对话当中， David 有开车经过一个大十字路口，文中是用到补充单字 intersection 来表达十字路口、交叉路口。那我们来学习它的字首字根。先来看到 INTER 这个字首，它表示在什么之间，在什么之中。那么 intersection 这个字的字首 inter 这部分表示在什么之中， SECT 表示切割， ION 是名词字尾。同学们可以试着联想，我们要切生日蛋糕啊，或是切柳丁的时候，你是不是常会先切一个十字呢？那么 intersection 这个字呢，它就有交叉路口、十字路口的意思咯。好，那这个字呢，其实最早是用来指几何学里面的交点、交叉线，后来才用来指十字路口的。我们顺便补充几个也有 inter 这个字首的单字。第一个是 international， 它的字首 inter 表示在什么之间，那么 national 是国家的，国家与国家之间呢，就表示是国际性的、国际上的。第二个补充的是 interject INTERJECT。 好，它的字首 INTER 表示在什么之间，那么字根 JECT 有丢掷的意思。同学们可以试着联想，当人家正在讲话的时候，你就突然丢出一句话来打断人家，这样也许可以联想到 interject 它就有打断插话的意思吧。好，第三个补充的字是 interfere INTERFERE， 它的字首 INTER 表示在什么之中，那么字根 FERE 表示突袭、攻击。当人家在从事某个活动的期间里，你就突然介入，那就不难联想到 interfere 这个动词有妨碍、干扰或是干涉、介入的意思吧。好，那么以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天单字吧。
Plot. Leroy plotted a course hoping to sail across the Pacific Ocean. Cathedral. Have you visited the cathedral yet? It's magnificent. Navigate. Without a map, Joy struggled to navigate the city. Steer. Thomas steered the car around the holes in the road. Resume. After a quick conversation with her colleague, Tina resumed her work.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you guys enjoyed reading and learning along with us. I am Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.